Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And I should run out and buy a cake because it is exactly 1 year ago today when I first did a story about Zach Bridges. And you're thinking, who the hell's that? Well, Zach Bridges was the man who wanted to call himself Emily Bridges and then get on his bike and compete against women. You see, he used to race as a man, but he wasn't very good. So he knew that if he was pretended to be a woman, he could beat women and then he could fulfil his dream of being a winner. Well, that didn't work out for him because British Cycling banned men from competing against women, and that upset his delicate little sensibilities. In fact, so much so that today it's being reported that he is thinking of leaving the country. Well, all I'll say is, don't let the door hit you on your arse on the way out. So off he goes, off he toddles to somewhere else. He does know that cycling all over the world has banned men from competing against women, doesn't he? Why don't the trans just have a race between themselves and see who is the best man who's not very good at cycling? You know. Anyway, we'll have a look at this article, see what's going on. But it is a case of the backlash begins. There's a lot of pushback now against this. Because we've got all the sports are cancelling men pretending to be women to compete, and now we're seeing like Bard has had billions wiped off its value. Target in America has had billions wiped off its value, all because they tried pandering, and the pandering isn't working anymore. And now they're starting to realise that as they're all going broke. But anyway, that's a different story for a different video. We'll have a look at this and see why Zach Bridges has got a problem. Here goes. So as British Cycling banned transgender women from racing in female competitions, with raging Emily Bridges, not his real name, now threatening to leave this terrible island over culture wars. Well, good luck, goodbye. We won't miss you. You know that. You won't be missed. British Cycling have banned transgender women, or men, from female category races. They say rules have been introduced to safeguard the fairness of the competition. Emily Bridges has hit out at British Cycling over their handling of the matter. Yes, because he demands the right to beat women, because he knows he can't beat men, because he's not very good. British Cycling have banned transgender women from racing in the female category at all events to safeguard the fairness of the competition. And quite right too, it's got to be fair. Sport must be fair before it is anything else. If it isn't fair, it isn't sport. And no matter what you call yourself or what you dress or how much lippy you put on, you're still a man and you still have the man's advantage in terms of physicality. So get over it, boy. The national governing body's new policy ends transgender rider Emily Bridges' dream of competing for Great Britain or Wales in women's races and puts pressure on the Sports International Federation, the UCI, to strengthen their own rules. The UCI brought rules in to stop this as well. British Cycling will change their current men's category to an open category where transgender women can compete against other male-born riders, while the female category will be reserved for those who were female at birth. I disagree with this. I think that men should not have to compete with trans, because obviously the trans, with all their taking of things, they argue they're weaker. They argue that they're weaker. This is their main point. We're weaker. We're slower. Well, if they're weaker and slower, then they can't possibly qualify for these things. So just take them out of the equation and just have a third section. So you've got the men's race, you've got the women's race, and then you've got the inadequates race for people who aren't good enough to compete with the real men. You know, it's the race for people who aren't very good. That's basically what it is, isn't it? Regardless of sex. People who are not very good can go in this race. We can give them a little pat on the head at the end. Well done, you've all done very well. Off you go. Anyway, the new policy relates to all competitive activity. Any race or event involving timing, ranking or prizes will come into force in full by the end of this year. Transgender women will still be allowed to ride with women in non-competitive cycling settings, such as the Breeze Community Programme. Have you asked women whether they want this yet? You're saying you're allowing it, but do women want men in an all-women's event? Anyway, this is Emily. His real name is Zachary, and I think you can agree that he appears to have Zachary syndrome, and that's where it was a problem that you have, and it's called Zachary syndrome, and it's where your face looks Zachary like your arse. There he is with his little Adam's apple. Oh, look, bless, little Adam's apple poking there. It doesn't matter how much terrible eye makeup you put on. Who taught you to do that? 3-year-old? My God. Anyway, he likes to beat women because he's not very good. So anyway, in an Instagram post, Bridges hit out at British Cycling for their handling of the issue, and he said that he was fed up with the conversation being dictated to on their terms and being controlled by them. It's their sport. They're the governing body. Of course it's on their terms. If you don't like it, play Ludo. Don't care. Anyway, in his damning statement, he said British Cycling is a failed organisation. Well, actually, no, it's not. It's just done marvellous good for women. He said the racing scene is dying under your watch, and all you do is take money from petrochemical companies and engage in culture wars. Your bike, does it have rubber tyres? Does it have oil on the chain? You know all that process that it's made by using, metal? How do you think that's processed? All three of those things require petrochemicals. So if you don't like it, get on your bike. See what I did there? See what you did? See? I think of these things. I don't just throw these videos together, Anyway, he notes that the announcement follows a wave of policies across America affecting transgender people, because everyone's fed up of it all over the world. Bridges wrote, this is a V act. You can't say the word, a V act. It's not. It's not at all. It's a decent act. It's an act that protects real women from the likes of weirdos. Anyway, it's when the government is expressing admiration towards Ron DeSantis' state, which kidnaps children, I think the word there is protects, and is itching to pass legislation to ban us from public life. There is no such legislation proposed. This is a V act. No, it's not. No one is stopping you from going out in public, regardless of what you look like or what you say or what you do. They just want fairness in sport. No one is stopping you wandering down the street, wandering into Boots, buying some shops. But, go to the shops, buying something. Who cares? Go to the library, read a book. We don't care. No one is stopping you doing that. What they are stopping you do is taking opportunities and prize money from women who've worked very hard to achieve what they've done, and you getting it simply by dint of your excess muscularity and strength by being male. And it doesn't matter what you look like with your little Harry Potter glasses, you're still a man. He accepted that a nuanced policy discussion needs to take place, but said that British Cycling have not done this. No, they looked at the science. Everyone goes, follow the science. Oh, all the trans, follow the science. Okay, we'll follow the science. You have an advantage. Deal with it. He added, I've given my body up to science for the last 2 years, and this data will be out soon. Yes, and it won't be the data you want. And will it be peer reviewed, or will it be just somebody in the back of a pub scribbling stuff down on an envelope? Bridges said he was strongly considering leaving Britain. Bye. Which he calls this terrible island because of the high level of hate crimes committed against transgender people. No, hate crimes committed against cheats. And there he is. There's Zachary with his Zachary face. And he wants to take places and opportunities away from women. Anyway, British Cycling Chief Executive John Dutton, that him there, let's put him back up, that's John Dutton, said our new policies are the product of a robust 9-month review process, which we know will have a very real-world impact on our community, both now and on the future. Certainly, it will have an impact on women's cycling. It will protect them. He says, I am confident that we have developed policies that both safeguard the fairness of cycle sport competitions while ensuring all riders have opportunities to participate. No one is stopping you riding. We just don't want you cheating. However, they suspended that. British Cycling's previous rules allowed transgender women to compete in the female category, providing they'd lowered their testosterone levels to below 5 nanomoles per litre over a 12-month period. But nobody knows why this number was arrived at or why it was even measured, because that level of testosterone makes no difference. You've already undergone male puberty, and so you have all those advantages of male musculature, skeletal strength, twitch response, you name it. Lowering your testosterone later does precisely bugger all. However, they suspended that policy in April last year after Bridges, who was previously on Great Britain's academy as a male rider named Zach, attempted to enter the women's race at the National Omnium Championships, where he would have come up against 5 times Olympic champion Laura Kenny. British Cycling then began a consultation with female and transgender riders and reviewed the available medical evidence. concluding that even with suppression of testosterone, trans women who transition post-puberty retain a performance advantage, which is what we're all saying all along. Cheating. Absolute cheating, because they're not very good, and so they all have to pretend to be women so that they can win something. My God. Doesn't matter what you do with your big oops, not while you got your big balls. And I shall bring this round off and come up. Just because you put on a lady voice and a lady dress doesn't make you a real lady, you know. I've watched Little Britain. I've seen Emily Howard. Different Emily. Same bloody thing though, isn't it? Man in a skirt. And that is actually the case. This man thinks he'd like to be a lady. He's not a lady. He's a man. But he'd like to be dressed as a lady. He'd like to be addressed as a lady. He wants to be treated as a lady. And yet, he wants to go in and beat women in sport as a man. That's not very ladylike, is it? You need psychiatric help. That's what you need. Because there's so few actual, real gender dysphoric people. That everyone else is doing it, I don't know, for sexual pleasure, for libido, for a laugh, or in his case, to cheat at sport. Anyway, I shall round off there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please hit that subscription. Ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. Definitely leave a like. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, always check what they got. And goodbye.